Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that your country's democracy had been stolen overnight, not by a rival nation, not by a warlord, but by the very country that claimed to be the world's greatest defender of freedom. That is not fiction. That is exactly what happened to Iran in 1953. And the shockwave from that single event is still being felt today in every sanction, every missile test, every nuclear standoff, and every moment the world holds its breath wondering if these two nations are finally about to go to war. Welcome to History Veil. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on one of the most explosive, most misunderstood rivalries in modern history, America versus Iran. This is not just a political story. This is a story of betrayal, revolution, hostages, proxy wars, and a tension that has never, not once, in over 70 years, truly been resolved. Buckle up, because this one goes deep. To understand where we are today, we have to go all the way back to 1951. Iran had enormous reserves of it, and a British company called the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, which is today known as BP, was controlling almost all of it. The Iranian people saw almost none of the profits. Enter Mohammad Mosaddegh, Iran's democratically elected prime minister, and a man who dared to say enough. Mosaddegh nationalized Iran's oil industry. He said the wealth beneath Iranian soil belonged to the Iranian people. The move was wildly popular at home and internationally celebrated by those who believed in self-determination. But Britain was furious, and they turned to their closest ally, the United States, for help. In 1953, the CIA, working alongside British intelligence, launched Operation Ajax. In a matter of days, they flooded Iranian streets with paid provocateurs, bribed military officials, and orchestrated a coup that overthrew Mossadegh's government. He was arrested, placed under house arrest for the rest of his life, and the Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi was reinstated as Iran's ruler, this time with absolute power. The United States had just destroyed Iran's democracy to protect oil interests. And while Washington celebrated the operation as a Cold War victory, millions of Iranians never forgot it. That wound never healed. For the next 26 years, the Shah ruled Iran as an authoritarian ally of the West. He modernized the country in some ways, yes, but he also ran one of the most brutal, secret police forces in the world, known as SAVAK, which tortured and disappeared political opponents. American presidents shook his hand. American weapons filled his military, and ordinary Iranians seethed. By the late 1970s, the pressure had become unbridled. A revolutionary movement led by the Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, a religious scholar who had been exiled by the Shah, was gaining unstoppable momentum. In January 1979, the Shah fled the country. In February, Khomeini returned to Iran to a crowd of millions. The Islamic Revolution had arrived. The new revolutionary government viewed the United States not as a partner, but as what they openly called the Great Satan, the foreign power that had stolen their democracy, propped up a tyrant, and exploited their nation for decades. That rage would soon boil over in one of the most dramatic diplomatic crises of the 20th century. On November 4, 1979, a group of Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and took 66 Americans hostage. They demanded the United States return the Shah, who was in New York receiving medical treatment, so he could face trial in Iran. President Jimmy Carter refused. What followed was 444 days of agonizing standoff that consumed American politics, humiliated the world's most powerful nation, and permanently shattered any remaining trust between Washington and Tehran. A military rescue attempt, Operation Eagle Claw, failed catastrophically in the Iranian desert, killing 8 American servicemen and not saving a single hostage. The hostages were finally released in January 1981, minutes after Ronald Reagan was inaugurated as president, a timing many historians still debate as potentially deliberate. The hostage crisis locked in a pattern of mutual contempt that would define U.S.-Iran relations for decades. The 1980s brought another chapter of betrayal. When Iraq's Saddam Hussein invaded Iran in 1980, the United States quietly backed him, providing intelligence, economic assistance, and looking the other way as he used chemical weapons against Iranian soldiers. Thousands of Iranians died in those chemical attacks. Iran never forgot who had enabled them. At the same time, the U.S. also secretly sold weapons to Iran during the same war, the scandal that became known as Iran-Contra. It was a foreign policy contradiction so profound it defied explanation. America was arming both sides of the same war. Then, in 1988, the USS Vincennes shot down Iran Air Flight 655, killing all 290 civilians aboard. The U.S. called it a tragic mistake. Iran called it murder. The U.S. government later awarded the ship's crew commendation medals. From Tehran, the message seemed clear: Iranian lives did not matter in Washington. The 1990s brought a brief, cautious thaw under Iranian President Mohammad Khatami, a reformist who spoke of a dialogue of civilizations and reached out carefully toward the West. For a moment, it seemed like things might shift. Then came September 11, 2001, and with it, everything changed again. Iran was not involved in the September 11 attacks. In fact, Iranians held candlelight vigils for the American victims. Iran cooperated with the U.S. in fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan, sharing intelligence and helping broker agreements. For one brief window, the two countries were almost on the same side. Then, in January 2002, President George W. Bush named Iran as part of the axis of evil, alongside Iraq and North Korea. The cooperation evaporated overnight. Iranian moderates, who had risked their political careers to reach out to Washington, were humiliated and sidelined. And Iran's hardliners had all the proof they needed that America could never be trusted. The nuclear question dominated the next 2 decades. Iran began expanding its nuclear program, insisting it was for civilian energy. The U.S. and Israel insisted it was a weapons program in disguise. Waves of economic sanctions began crushing the Iranian economy. Covert operations, including a sophisticated cyber attack called Stuxnet, widely attributed to the U.S. and Israel, destroyed Iranian centrifuges and set back their nuclear timeline by years. In 2015, the Obama administration, along with 5 other world powers, negotiated the Iran nuclear deal, formerly known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Iran agreed to severe limits on its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. Diplomats called it a historic breakthrough. 3 years later, President Donald Trump withdrew the United States from the deal unilaterally, calling it the worst agreement ever negotiated. Crushing sanctions were reimposed. Iran responded by accelerating its nuclear program past the limits it had agreed to. The fragile diplomatic progress collapsed. In January 2020, U.S. drone strike killed General Qasem Soleimani, the commander of Iran's elite Quds force, near Baghdad airport. Iran called it an act of war. They fired ballistic missiles at U.S. bases in Iraq. The world held its breath, waiting for full-scale conflict. It did not come, but the region had never felt more dangerous. Today, as of 2025, Iran's nuclear program is more advanced than at any point in history. The country is enriching uranium at levels that put it within a technical step of weapons-grade material. Regional proxy conflicts in Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Gaza, and Iraq have drawn Iran and America into overlapping shadow wars with no clear resolution. Negotiations have stalled. Trust is essentially non-existent. And yet, and this is crucial, neither side has ever fully closed the door on diplomacy, because both countries understand what the alternative looks like. A full military confrontation between the United States and Iran would not stay contained. It would drag in the entire Middle East, spike global oil prices, and create a humanitarian catastrophe of staggering proportions. The history between these two nations is not just a story of enemies. It is a story of what happens when empire, resources, religion, and wounded pride collide across 7 decades without ever being fully reckoned with. The 1953 coup is still in the room every time an American diplomat sits across from an Iranian one. The hostages are still in the room. The chemical weapons are still in the room. Until both sides honestly confront that history, all of it, the world will keep living on the edge. That is the story of America and Iran, from the oil fields of 1953 to the nuclear standoffs of today. If you found this video valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe to History Veil for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world and continue to define it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think the future holds for these two nations? Can there ever be genuine peace, or is this rivalry too deep to resolve? History is never just the past. It is always, always the present. And on History Veil, we never let you forget that. We will see you in the next one.